Welcome to Gade's Kitchen. I am Gade, and this is my kitchen. Before we get started making sausage, I just want to answer a quick question that Linda made on my previous video. She asked, how do I keep pork loin moist? Well, in the oven, I use 3 simple items. A pan that's deep enough to hold liquid, apple cider vinegar, and water. 50% apple cider vinegar, 50% water. In the pan, first knuckle deep, just like you would cooking rice, and put that underneath whatever it is you're cooking. Whether it be a roast or pork loin, and it will keep it moist, as well as impart a nice, mild flavor to it. If you don't want any flavor at all, you can just use water and not the apple cider vinegar. However, I find the apple cider vinegar doesn't add enough flavor to change anything, but it does make it more moist and more tender. Now, on to sausage making. First step is to cube your pork butt, which is this one, and the pork fat, which is this one. You want an approximate ratio of 4:1, 4 pounds pork butt, 1 pound pork fat. You can change Next, we are going to measure out our ingredients. We are going to use sage, marjoram, thyme, black pepper, white pepper, and kosher salt. We're going to do 3 tablespoons of sage. I am not very precise. 1, 2, 3. I'll put that to the side. We're going to do 3 tablespoons of marjoram. Again, not totally precise, but fairly close. 1, 2, 3. Put that one to the side. We are going to do 1 tablespoon of thyme. This may seem like a lot, but remember, this total is going to be 5 pounds. So this actually isn't a lot of spices for the amount of meat that we're doing. And sausage, breakfast sausage especially, is a spicy meat. We are going to do 3 tablespoons of the kosher salt. Whatever you do for the sage and the marjoram, you want to do for the salt. So if you do 4 tablespoons of the sage, you do 4 tablespoons of the marjoram, you do 4 tablespoons of the salt. I'm doing 3, 3, and 3. Same thing with the pepper. I like to split mine up. Normally, you just use all black pepper. I like how the white pepper adds an extra depth of flavor, so that's why I use the white pepper, but just a little bit of it. So I use 2 tablespoons of the black pepper, because again, it's very spicy meat. There's 2 tablespoons. And 1 tablespoon of the white pepper. Again, not very accurate. Cooking is not very accurate. Baking, super accurate. Cooking, it's more how it makes you feel. Okay, I'm going to glove up for this one. Put my nice black gloves on to dig into the meat. You always want your meat to be very cold too, so every step afterwards you refrigerate it. So we're really going to dig in there, and we're going to mix it all up, and then we're going to cover it And we're gonna stick it in the fridge for about an hour. Making sausage is not a quick process, but it is a fun process because you get to play with it. I love playing with my food. You just kind of massage it in. Don't be afraid to squeeze it, move it around, twist it. Try to keep it in the bowl though, and not spilling out of the bowl. Dry rubbing meat in general is the same principle. That's what we're doing right here. We're just doing it in chunks rather than a big steak. So we put the dry rub on, we let it sit for an hour in the fridge. And then after the hour, it's time to start grinding it up. And that is when the fun starts. And we're gonna grind it, and we may even cook some of it and see how it tastes. All right, I think we got that. So now we'll just get that covered up for you guys, and we'll see you in an hour. And just like that, it has been an hour. This is the KitchenAid attachment meat grinder. I have the medium grind on here, the holes, and I will be using the 4 setting on here. It'll get very loud. I'm not sure how the mic's gonna work on that, so we'll see. Before I started everything, I put this in the freezer, so it is really, really cold. We really wanna keep everything cold. So let's start shoving meat in and making some sausage. And when you're doing this, you want to make sure you're mixing the actual pork butt and pork fat together well. So not just putting pork butt in, but mixing the pork butt and the pork fat together. So I really have the camera aimed right at where all this delicious meat is coming out. But up top, there's a hole where I'm putting the meat in, and I'm using this to tamp it down with. So my fingers never get near anything that could hurt them. The problem gets if you don't mix it well enough with the meat and the fat, then you get some areas that are higher concentration of fat, some areas that are higher concentration of meat. And you kind of want a good disbursement of fat and meat throughout the sausage. And that way, it cooks more evenly. Because if you don't, then you could get areas where it's really high concentrations of fat, which render down really well, and then shrink. Or you get higher concentrations of meat, which don't render down, so they don't shrink. And then if that happens, then you get uneven cooking. And we don't want uneven cooking. We want it to cook nice and evenly. So inside, these little blades here are what push it. And there's an auger that brings it around. And so, as you can see, there's always going to be a last little bit that's just not going to push through too well. And that's okay. And that is how we do that. And then we have our nice bulk sausage. Oh, it smells so good. So then here we will cook a patty up and see how this tastes. All right, so we cut into it, tried it. It was delicious. Not too sagey, but still a lot of sage. Very, very yummy. Everything else was really, really good. All was nice and balanced. The fat content, it wasn't very fatty. All the other flavors were there. Yeah. Homemade bulk breakfast sausage. Very, very delicious. Thank you for joining me on my very first video making bulk sausage. Super excited to have you with me. It was a lot of fun, wasn't it? It was so delicious. Next week, please join us. I am going to attempt to make this beef stroganoff out of slow cooker. I'm gonna attempt to make it a lot easier and not take 10 hours to make. So stay tuned for next week's video, and I'll have both my kids with me. Ian and Robin will be with me, helping me out make this. So stay tuned for next week, and hope to see you then. Thank you. Bye.